Hey there, let's dive into the fascinating world of biological sciences, shall we? I mean, if you've ever wondered why your heart beats or how a tiny seed turns into a towering tree, you're already dipping your toes into this incredible field. Biological sciences, or biology as we often shorthand it, is all about life itself, studying living organisms, their structures, functions, growth, evolution, and how they interact with each other and their environments. It's not just some dusty textbook stuff. It's the science that explains why we're here, how we survive, and even why we behave the way we do. Think about it. From the microbes in your gut helping you digest that morning coffee to the ecosystems keeping our planet balanced, biology is everywhere. Now, you might be asking, what makes biology so special compared to other sciences? Well, it's incredibly broad and interconnected. As I was reading up on this, I came across a piece that really nailed it. Biology isn't an isolated discipline. It demands knowledge from pretty much every corner of science. To become a biologist, you have to master advanced math, informatics, physics, biophysics, chemistry, physical chemistry, paleontology, and even things like Latin for naming species. And that's not all. Throw in psychology, teaching methods, botany, zoology, human anatomy, physiology, microbiology, ecology, cell biology, biochemistry, and molecular biology. It's like biology is the ultimate melting pot, requiring you to be a jack of all trades before specializing. GenuineProspect.com. That's why biologists often end up influencing fields like biotechnology, environmental science, medicine, and agriculture. Imagine trying to develop a new vaccine without understanding chemistry or physics. It just wouldn't work. Speaking of those interconnections, let's chat about how biology ties into human behavior. You know how sometimes we blame our moods on bad genes or hormones? There's real science behind that. Biological factors play a huge role in shaping how we act, react, and even make decisions. This isn't just pop psychology. It's rooted in areas like genetics, neuroscience, psychiatry, and even biophysics. For instance, your genes might predispose you to certain behaviors, but mix in environmental influences, and it's a whole different story. I found this insightful discussion on how these biological elements interact with things like psychology and epidemiology to explain everything from health issues to unpredictable actions. Thor.com. It's fascinating because it shows biology isn't just about plants and animals, it's about us, why we get anxious in crowds or why some people are natural risk takers. And when you factor in criminology or end-of-life psychology, it gets even deeper, like exploring how brain chemistry influences criminal behavior or mental health. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Before we zoom into the human side, maybe we should step back and think about what science, including biology, really means in our daily lives. It's not some abstract concept, it's woven into everything we do. Picture your morning routine. The alarm on your phone? That's electronics grounded in physics, but the coffee you brew involves biology through the bean's growth and your body's caffeine response. Even the house you live in, its construction relies on materials science, but the clean water from your tap? That's a win for chemistry, microbiology, and public health, all under the umbrella of biological sciences ensuring no nasty bacteria sneak in. Samuel.ai. Science like biology exerts this constant, invisible pull, much like gravity, making our world habitable and functional. Without it, we'd still be guessing why diseases spread or how to grow food efficiently. Alright, let's trace biology back to its roots because understanding where it came from helps appreciate where it's going. The word biology itself comes from Greek bios, meaning life, and logos, meaning study. People have been pondering life's mysteries for millennia, but it really kicked off as a formal science in the 19th century. Think Aristotle, way back in ancient Greece, classifying animals and plants. Fast forward to the Renaissance, and folks like Andreas Vesalius were dissecting bodies to map human anatomy, challenging old myths. Then came the big guns. Charles Darwin in the 1800s with his theory of evolution by natural selection. Oh man, that shook things up. Darwin's On the Origin of Species proposed that all life evolves over time through tiny changes, survival of the fittest, you know the drill. It wasn't just about finches on the Galapagos, it explained why species adapt, diversify, and sometimes go extinct. Biology owes a lot to him for shifting from static views of life to dynamic, ever-changing ones. Building on that, the 20th century exploded with discoveries. Gregor Mendel, the monk who experimented with pea plants, laid the groundwork for genetics, showing how traits are inherited. Then, in 1953, James Watson and Francis Crick, with crucial help from Rosalind Franklin, unraveled the double helix structure of DNA. That was a game changer. Suddenly, we could understand the molecular blueprint of life. Biology split into subfields. Molecular biology for the tiny stuff inside cells, ecology for how organisms interact in nature, and evolutionary biology to track changes over eons. And don't forget microbiology, which deals with bacteria, viruses, and fungi, those invisible powerhouses that can cure or kill. Let's linger on microbiology for a bit because it's so underrated yet vital. Imagine a world without antibiotics. Alexander Fleming's accidental discovery of penicillin in 1928 revolutionized medicine, saving countless lives from bacterial infections. But microbes aren't all villains. They're the heroes of fermentation, giving us bread, beer, and yogurt. In your own body, trillions of bacteria form your microbiome, aiding digestion, boosting immunity, and even influencing your mood. Recent studies show gut bacteria might link to depression or anxiety, tying back to that behavior angle we touched on earlier. And in the environment, microbes break down waste, cycle nutrients, and even help combat climate change by sequestering carbon. It's like an underground army keeping the planet alive. Shifting gears to botany, the study of plants, which is another cornerstone of biological sciences. Plants aren't just pretty greenery, they're the foundation of life on Earth. Through photosynthesis, they convert sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water into oxygen and energy. Basically, they're why we can breathe. Botanists explore everything from towering redwoods to microscopic algae, figuring out how they grow, reproduce, and adapt. Take genetically modified crops. Biologists have engineered plants resistant to pests or drought, helping feed a growing global population. But it's not without controversy. Debates rage over GMO's safety and ecological impact. Still, without botanical knowledge, we'd struggle with agriculture, forestry, and even pharmaceuticals, since many drugs come from plants like the willow tree, source of aspirin, or the Pacific yew, for cancer treatments. Zoology, on the other hand, zooms in on animals, from amoebas to elephants. It's about understanding animal behavior, physiology, and conservation. Ethologists like Jane Goodall have spent lifetimes observing chimps, revealing how similar their social structures are to ours, which informs evolutionary biology. Zoology also ties into veterinary science, ensuring our pets and livestock stay healthy. And in the wild, it's crucial for biodiversity. Think endangered species like pandas or rhinos. Biologists track populations, study habitats, and advocate for protections against habitat loss or poaching. It's heartbreaking to see species vanish, but zoology gives us tools to fight back, like breeding programs or rewilding efforts. Now, let's weave in ecology, because no organism lives in isolation. Ecology examines ecosystems, those intricate webs of life where plants, animals, microbes, and the environment interplay. Picture a coral reef. Fish, corals, algae, all depending on each other, with ocean currents and temperature playing roles. Disrupt one part, say through pollution or warming waters, and the whole system crashes. That's why biologists warn about climate change's ripple effects. Ecology informs conservation biology, helping us restore damaged areas or predict invasive species impacts. It's practical too. Urban ecologists design green cities to support wildlife and human health, reducing stress through parks and biodiversity. Diving deeper into the cellular level, Cell biology is where things get microscopic and mind-blowing. Cells are life's building blocks, prokaryotic in bacteria, eukaryotic in us with nuclei and organelles. Biologists study how cells divide, mitosis for growth, meiosis for reproduction, communicate via signals, and even self-destruct in apoptosis to prevent issues like cancer. Stem cell research, a hot topic, promises regenerative medicine. Imagine growing new organs from your own cells. But ethics come into play. Where do we draw lines on embryonic stem cells? It's a debate blending biology with philosophy and law. Biochemistry bridges biology and chemistry, focusing on life's molecular reactions. Enzymes speed up processes, proteins build structures, lipids form membranes, and carbohydrates fuel energy. Understanding these helps in nutrition, why we need vitamins or how diets affect health. In medicine, biochemistry underpins drug design, targeting specific molecules to treat diseases like diabetes or HIV. Molecular biology takes it further, manipulating DNA and RNA. Techniques like PCR amplify genes for testing, while CRISPR-Cas9 edits them precisely. CRISPR, discovered in bacteria's immune systems, lets us snip out faulty genes, potentially curing genetic disorders like sickle cell anemia. But risks abound. Off-target edits or designer babies raise alarms. Still, it's transforming agriculture, creating disease-resistant crops, and even fighting mosquitoes that spread malaria. Genetics, evolving from Mendel's peas, now includes genomics, sequencing entire genomes. The Human Genome Project mapped our 3 billion DNA base pairs, revealing genes for traits and diseases. Today, personalized medicine tailors treatments to your genetics, like using BRCA tests for breast cancer risk. Epigenetics adds layers, showing how environment alters gene expression without changing DNA, explaining why identical twins can differ. Neuroscience, a biological offshoot, explores the brain and nervous system. It's about how neurons fire, forming thoughts, memories, and emotions. fMRI scans reveal brain activity, aiding diagnoses of Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. Linking back to behavior, neurobiology shows how dopamine drives reward or serotonin affects mood, informing psychiatry and addiction treatments. Immunology studies defenses against pathogens. Vaccines train your immune system. Think mRNA tech in COVID shots, a biological triumph. Autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis happen when the system attacks itself, so immunologists develop therapies like biologics. Developmental biology tracks growth from embryo to adult. How does a single fertilized egg become a complex being? Genes orchestrate it, with stem cells differentiating into tissues. This informs reproductive medicine, like IVF, and teratology, studying birth defects from toxins or genetics. Evolutionary biology explains life's diversity. Natural selection, genetic drift, mutations, they drive change. Fossils and DNA evidence trace our lineage back to common ancestors with apes, bacteria, even. It's not just history, it predicts antibiotic resistance or viral mutations, like in flu strains. Paleontology, though often linked to geology, intersects with biology via fossils. Studying ancient life reveals extinction events, like dinosaurs' demise, informing current biodiversity crises. Biophysics applies physics to biology, like how proteins fold or membranes conduct electricity. It's key for understanding muscle contraction or photosynthesis efficiency. Bioinformatics uses computers to analyze biological data, crunching genomes or modeling protein structures. It's essential in big data era biology. Now, let's talk applications. In medicine, biology drives diagnostics, surgeries, and therapies. Antibiotics, organ transplants, gene therapy, all biological innovations. Public health uses epidemiology to track diseases, as in pandemics. Agriculture benefits from biology through breeding, pest control, and soil science. Hydroponics and vertical farming optimize growth in urban spaces. Environmental biology tackles pollution, conservation, and sustainability. Bioremediation uses microbes to clean oil spills. Restoration ecology rebuilds wetlands. Biotechnology engineers life for products like insulin from bacteria or biofuels from algae. It's a booming industry. Forensics uses DNA fingerprinting for crime solving, a direct biological application. Even in space, astrobiology searches for extraterrestrial life, applying biological principles to extreme environments. But biology isn't without challenges. Ethical dilemmas in cloning, GMOs, or animal testing spark debates. Climate change threatens ecosystems, demanding adaptive biology. Antibiotic resistance looms as a superbug crisis. Looking ahead, synthetic biology designs new organisms, perhaps for custom medicines or environmental fixes. AI integrates with biology for faster discoveries, like protein folding predictions. Personalized and regenerative medicine promise longer, healthier lives. Conservation biology fights extinction, maybe even de-extincting species via cloning. Yet, we must balance progress with caution, equitable access, privacy in genetic data, and avoiding hubris. In essence, biological sciences are the thread connecting all life. They explain our past, shape our present, and guide our future. From the tiniest cell to vast ecosystems, biology reveals wonders and responsibilities. So next time you watch a butterfly or ponder your thoughts, remember, that's biology at work.